Hey all, welcome back to the Shreve Crump and Low YouTube channel. I'm your host Jack Tyler, and today we have another watch review for you.
The watch we will be reviewing today is the Nomos Tangenta Neomatic 41 Update with the Midnight Blue dial, which is my personal favorite.
Nomos has graciously lent us this watch for the last month, and so in that time we've been able to take it out and wear it in a number of different environments to test how it wears on a day-to-day basis. Now before we jump to the review, let's first talk a little bit about Nomos as a brand. Nomos was founded in 1990. His vision was to make pure watchmaking and Bauhaus design not only beautiful, but also accessible. You can find Nomos' workshops tucked between the beautiful hills and valleys of Glashütte, Germany. You might also recognize a few of their neighbors, namely A. Lange & Söhne and Glashütte Original. With manufacturers such as those within a stone's throw away, you can really start to see how dedicated the entire city is to the art of high horology. Naturally, the standards for watches coming out of Glashütte are extraordinarily high, and for a good reason. Glashütte's watchmaking history goes back over 175 years, and in that time the city has produced some of the most important watches in history. However, Nomos today has grown to be the largest manufacturer of timepieces in Glashütte today. With their staff of 180 watchmakers, Nomos now makes around 20,000 watches per year, including the one that we have here today,
the Tangenta Neomatic 41 Reference 182.
When Nomos sent us this watch, we took it around the store and asked our team what they thought about it, just their initial reactions looking at the watch for the very first time. Overall, we came to the general consensus that this watch is not only a highly versatile addition to just about any collection, but also a great entry point for anyone looking to get into horology in general. When we look at the selection of watches under $5,000, it's really hard to argue that Nomos isn't delivering some of the best value prop per dollar in the entire industry, especially when you consider the fact that the watch contains an in-house movement with the majority of the parts being manufactured right at the factory in Glashütte. Looking at the watch itself, you'll notice that nothing about this watch looks or feels like a compromise, and I just love that. On the dial, we have a deep midnight blue color that features hours, minutes, seconds, and a radial date. The hands are polished batons pivoting above the printed hour markers. One of the little things that you might not pick up on right away seeing this watch for the first time is the font, and I really think it's cool to kind of see a throwback to more of the mid-century style Arabic numerals. It just really evokes that Bauhaus style, which is something that we know Nomos does better than anyone else. When it comes to the quickset date, we see a radial display with the date being indicated by the green accents. The action of changing the date is extremely smooth and quite honestly pretty fun to use, something that you don't see on a lot of watches. Now when you look at the outside of the watch, you see that the entire case has been nicely polished, which I think kind of elevates it more within the realm of a dress watch, even though it's certainly a watch that can be worn with more casual attire as well. I think the lugs are another standout feature and really, scream Nomos from across the room. That thin angle that turns downward really helps fit the shape of your wrist, so it's a really nice blend of aesthetics and also an ergonomic choice that we see from Nomos. The watch also clocks in at 7.8 millimeters in thickness, so it's really nice and slim. It's going to slip under a dress cuff with no problems. The movement powering this watch is the Nomos Caliber DUW6101, which features automatic winding and a 42-hour power reserve. For the price you pay, Nomos really over-delivers in the finishing department, at least in my opinion. You can see some really defined Geneva striping and perlage work if you take a closer look, which is something you don't often see at this price point. Having worn this watch for several weeks now, I honestly think that a lot of brands could learn a thing or two from the example that Nomos has set. Their dedication to bringing you a product that is extremely worth the money you paid is something that should be universal across all brands, but unfortunately, as we know, it's not. Over their relatively short lifespan as a company, I think Nomos has taken huge steps to constantly improve the quality of their products. Not only that, but they've managed to keep the cost of their products very reasonable, while other brands have tended to skyrocket. Ultimately, it's just really refreshing to see a brand that clearly cares so much about their customers and the experience that they have with their timepieces. At the end of the day, when you're paying thousands of dollars for these little machines that we like to wear on our wrists, we expect a certain level of craftsmanship, and Nomos certainly delivers. When it comes to styling this watch, I personally think it looks great with a suit or even a t-shirt and some chinos. One thing Nomos really nails with their watches across the board is versatility. They kind of walk the line between a dress watch and a casual watch and do so with their own sense of style and flair, which I absolutely love. But to get back to my original point about this being an amazing first watch for a new buyer, If you're in the market for your first serious watch, then I would highly suggest not only considering the Tagante, but all of the lines that Nomos has to offer. But don't just take my word for it, I implore you to go and try one on for yourself, because you really don't know until you put one on your own wrist. I promise you're not going to be disappointed. To sum things up, the Nomos Tagante Neomatic 41 update is a classic example of Nomos' ability to create stunning, simple watches that really hold up under close scrutiny. Their Bauhaus design language and immense attention to detail really come together to create the complete package. Now, of course, if you live in the Boston area, we'd love for you to stop by our boutique and try on any of the Nomos watches that we carry in stock. Shreve Cumberland is proud to be an authorized retailer of Nomos watches along with many other fine brands. So please click the link in the description below to view our entire catalog of both watches and fine jewelry. Well, that just about does it for today's video. Make sure if you liked this one, please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you think of Nomos as a brand and this watch itself. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel so we can keep making great content for you. Once again, I've been Jack Tyler, your host, and thanks for spending a little time with us here today.